way to Georgia Championship Wrestling. And I believe that
wait a second. Who did you say is going there? Because I just coming to Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Did I not come through all the way?
No, you didn't come through all the way.
All right, let's try this one more time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. And we hope you are doing well. And we're going to be talking about the fabulous Freebirds. They came to Georgia Championship Wrestling on September 27th, 1980. And I believe that Jack remembers this fondly. Me and Rodney remember this fondly because he said during one of these matches, we were sitting at ringside for the Kevin Sullivan, Mike Davis match against the Freebirds.
Yes, we were. Right on the front row there. Right dead center.
You know, to be honest with you, I never saw us there. Wasn't looking, though. I was watching the match, and it was a pretty good match. But the fabulous Freebirds, let's talk.
You see, Kevin Sullivan was in the match, and I wasn't watching them. I was watching him.
I'll have to admit, though, Kevin Sullivan was very good during this time period. I thought he was very good during this time period. But it was September 27th, 1980 at the WTBS studio in Atlanta, Georgia. Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts with Michael Hayes at ringside went against Jerry Roberts and Tim Horner. This was when they came to Georgia, do y'all remember when Gordon Soley opened the show? Freebird was playing, and he said today on this program, we're going to see the fabulous Freebirds today. Do y'all remember that?
I do.
Yes.
That was so good, very unique to Georgia Championship Wrestling. And so then they come out. Michael Hayes does most of the interview, and this interview is so good. Michael Hayes does he introduces Terry Gordy. He's not a drugstore cowboy. He's not a Western cowboy, but he's a space cowboy in this interview. Such a great interview. And then he introduces Buddy Roberts and says he is the member that knows the most about professional wrestling. And I thought that was a great interview. What did you think, Rodney?
Well, it's Michael Hayes. He and what came to me is they presented themselves as stars. Now, the first thing you do is you get you a nice robe when you're coming on national television. Preferably not a T-shirt. You know, anybody can get a T-shirt. You need to come out. You need to look like a star, and that's what they look like. They look like a star. Michael Hayes did not look like it was the first time he's ever been on television. He knew exactly what he was there to do. He knew exactly what he was going to talk about. He presented the Freebirds as the greatest thing that's ever been. In fact, the promotion presented them that way. Like I said, Gordon Soley made that presentation, and then it paid off. Michael Hayes, for those people that never saw him before, they were impressed, I guarantee you. And also, they probably said, oh, no, what's going to happen next? Here we go.
Well, Jack, did you see them the first time they were on television on September 27th? Did you watch that episode?
Yes. Yep.
To me, they came on that show, and this is exact words, Michael Hayes, the Freebirds go national. That's in his interview. He told the people the Freebirds go national, and that is the truth. And really and truly, he set himself apart from all the other tag teams. Well, they did. Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts went against Jerry Roberts and Tim Horner in this match, in their first match on television. Michael Hayes was doing commentary. He showed so good how good he was. The referee for this match, Ron West, is the referee for this particular match. At the start of the show, though, they're playing the Freebird and then playing the Freebird music. And remember, Ole Anderson is the man that brought the Freebirds into Georgia Championship Wrestling. And for him to be able to say, okay, we'll play the music, that had to be something else to be able to say, we're going to put the, what do you think, Jack?
Well, yeah, I mean, it just wasn't done. And, but the entire production of the Freebirds, they led into them to make you think they were something. And then when they presented themselves, when they were out there in the ring, they were something.
Yeah.
Everything that was hyped about them, they lived up to and beyond. To me, still the greatest heel tag team in history.
Yeah. If you'll watch the match, and for those folks that have not watched the match, you can go and put the Fabulous Freebirds Georgia Championship Wrestling 1980, and this will come up. When Jerry Roberts came into the ring, they had only been there 1 week. This was their first match. And when Jerry Roberts got in that ring, the people went nuts. When Buddy Roberts and Terry Gordy both were making him look spectacular, that was just amazing. The actual reaction the fans were giving, I thought it was spectacular. Yep. At the end of the match, Roberts whipped in Tim Horner. He picked him up for the pile driver, and man, that pile driver, he didn't hook it. It was more like a power bomb on poor old Tim Horner, and that looked like that was brutal.
Yeah, that was that's exactly what it was. It was the back body drop. Tim Horner shot in the rope by Buddy Roberts. Roberts went down, got him in a back body drop. Terry Gordy catches him right into what Gordon called a modified pile driver. But that was their finish. That was the Freebirds finish.
Ooh, that looked very, very, very brutal on Tim Horner. Then they would come back on October the 4th, 1980 at the TBS studios. And this time, Michael Hayes and Buddy Roberts would team with each other, because they made a big deal out of it that they would be the only tag team in the history of wrestling that would eventually be called the Freebird Rule. Still to this day, when there's something, they call it the Freebird Rule. But Terry Gordy was doing the commentary during this match. And don't let anybody tell you Terry Gordy didn't know how to do an interview, because this was spectacular.
Oh, yeah. Terry knows exactly what he's doing. He's been doing this thing since he was 13. He and Michael basically split the interviews up when they worked for Nick Goulas. It was not 100% Michael Hayes doing all the talking. Terry was right there. Of course, Terry was the enforcer, and Michael was the instigator. That was the way it was always.
Yep. Jack, during this match, poor old Zane Hickey in this match seemed a little awkward in this match. Was it just me, or was he a little awkward in this thing?
Yeah, he was a little off. I think he was in over his head, and he knew it.
I felt bad for him, because they were trying to do stuff with him, and they just couldn't do it. But it was a good, solid match, and it got Michael Hayes and Buddy Roberts over, and they did a double suplex on Hickey, and they defeated him in that way, and just a spectacular match. And then I guess on the second hour of Georgia Championship Wrestling, Terry Gordy and Michael Hayes teamed with each other on that, and they beat. It says Ray Harris and Les Hatfield. Now I don't know. I did not. I could not find that match on YouTube. But if it was those two guys. But anyway, we know they win. And I would say Buddy Roberts was probably doing commentary during that match. So it's another guy that knew how to actually do interviews, and he had already been a part of the Hollywood Blondes with Jerry Brown for years, so he knew what he was doing as well. Let's throw a picture up here of the Freebirds right there. They actually have the Georgia tag team titles. I think the national tag team titles ended up being the same exact belts. They just sent them off to. Am I correct about that? They just sent those belts off and took Georgia off and put the national on it.
I'm pretty certain, because I don't remember the belts looking very much different.
Yeah, I don't remember it as well. They go to the Omni in Atlanta, Jack, and you said you were there in person for the tournament. I believe I don't know, Rodney, were we there? Did we go to that one?
We didn't get to go there for whatever reason. We didn't get to do that one.
Well, Jack, tell us a little bit about what you saw and what you thought about the Freebirds on October 10th, 1980 in the Omni.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, I was stationed at Fort Benning down in Columbus, Georgia, and, that's a couple-hour drive, and not normally something that, that trip I wouldn't make very often, but the Freebirds were going to be there, and I wanted to see the Freebirds. And I got there, and I don't know if the building was sold out, but it sure did look like it from where I was sitting. And I was all the way up in the nosebleed sections because that was the only seats left. But I'm telling you, there was such an air that night. And I still get chill bumps thinking about that first match in that tournament when they came out and every light in the building went off and that music started playing and they came to the ring, and it was absolutely the most thrilling thing that I had ever seen. And I've been a lot of concerts, a lot of wrestling matches, all kinds of stuff. Nothing matched the magic of what those guys presented when they were coming to the ring that night. I mean, it was that whole building. We all knew they were bad guys. It didn't matter. That building exploded when they came out. It was huge.
They honestly turned Georgia Championship Wrestling around within a few weeks because Georgia was not drawing very well until the Freebirds got there, and the Freebirds did turn it around pretty good. Now, this was the match. It was what they call a round robin tag tournament. Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeated the Assassins in the first match, and then Mr. Wrestling 1 and 2 got defeated by the Freebirds, and they would win the NWA Georgia Tag Team titles. It did say it was a mask versus titles versus money round robin match, but nobody lost their mask though, did they?
Yes, they did. Randy Colley had to unmask.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I don't remember.
No longer now because that team was over. I think Jody was going to the Carolinas or something.
Okay, so that did happen. I did not remember that happening.
Whereas Randy Colley got his mask took off. I assumed that it was both men took their mask off, but it was the loser of the fall, and that just so happened to be Randy Colley.
Well, we know Jody wasn't going to take his mask. Now this is the question I think we've all talked about before. What a missed opportunity with the Freebirds against Mr. Wrestling 1 and 2.
Yeah. Exactly. You had the legendary team, and really could have took them to the Freebirds to the top level. I think because Wrestling 1 and 2 had been through so many. The Assassins had been through the Andersons, and they were just the home team pretty much. And I think it would have helped take some of the edge of that. The Freebirds kind of being halfway light. If you put somebody against Wrestling 1 and 2, and some of the other people was against, not so good,
Well, Jack, we got a couple of matches there. If you'll go through some of the matches that they had following the Omni show.
October 13th, 1980, Bell Auditorium in Augusta, Georgia. Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeated Mr. Wrestling 1 and 2. And then on the 20th, Bell Auditorium again in Augusta, Georgia. Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeated Ted and Jerry Oates. The 22nd, Municipal Auditorium in Columbus, Georgia. Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeated Mike Graham and Kevin Sullivan, and I was there for that match. A heck of a match. The next night, the 23rd, at the Memorial Coliseum Gymnasium, in Rome, Georgia, Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts versus Jack Briscoe and Mike Graham. Another card I got to see in person. Then the 24th, the Omni in Atlanta, Terry Gordy, Buddy Roberts, and Michael Hayes defeated Jack Briscoe, Mike Graham, and Kevin Sullivan. Then on the 27th of October, Bell Auditorium in Augusta, Georgia, Jim Brunzell versus Terry Gordy ended without a winner in a no contest. November the 1st, 1980, Mid-South Auditorium in Griffin, Georgia, Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeated Jim Brunzell and Steve O. And then also that day on the TV tapings, WTBS Studios in Atlanta, Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeated Gerald Finley and Marvin Turner.
And that match, I believe, can be seen on YouTube. And that was another great match. One thing I think that the Freebirds understood they would make sure they gave their opponents something so it made look like that it made it look like they beat somebody. Do you
Yes.
agree with that, Jack?
Oh, totally.
A little different.
And I think that comes from working with Nick Gulas. Really, Nick did not have any of those type of where the other wrestler couldn't defend himself. They had competition. At least they could put up a little bit of a fight instead of being a crash dummy. Let's practice holds on these guys. All right.
Great match by the Freebirds. Then probably one of the best produced angles, stuff they had done on television was between Kevin Sullivan and Austin Idol against the fabulous Freebirds. Some great stuff was done here. On November 1st, 1980 at the TBS studios, the Freebirds were to wrestle Austin Idol and Kevin Sullivan. But they came out on television and they told Gordon Soley they would not be wrestling them. Sullivan comes out and Idol comes out all upset because they said they would wrestle against them, but they lied. They lied last week. They're not going to wrestle them because they had a couple other people that they needed to wrestle, and they'd already had them contracts signed. What did you think about that, Jack?
Oh, I thought that was great. And just a side note to that, there was tremendous long-term angle between Sullivan and Idol that led up to them being tag team partners. And if you could ever go back and look at that was a tremendous story leading into that. But yeah, I mean, that was just good stuff. It just heels being heels, as you know, when you're a great one, this is the stuff you do.
Hayes came out, Rodney, and said that he did another interview, and he said that Austin Idol was an imitation of Michael Hayes and the Freebirds, and he deserved no match with them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's perfect, and Hayes pushed that button exactly right because the Freebirds wasn't there before. Austin Idol had been there 2-3 years. So yeah, it hit the right tone exactly with that.
That was really good. Then Terry Gordy. Now here's the match that they had had a contract for, and they were going. Now this match, Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts went against a wrestler named Jack Poor, which wrestled a lot in the Atlanta area, and Gerald Finley wrestled against them. Now in this match, they beat poor old Poor up. Poor old Poor. There's a pun there. They beat him up pretty bad in the match, and they just kept on picking him up. They finally did beat him and then beat him afterwards. And Sullivan Idol came to the rescue, and the fans went crazy when they came out. And here's people who have not been there for 3 weeks. So it tells you how good they were.
It tells you that within one match, you can tell a story, and that is the experience of Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts and Michael Hayes. You normally, if you can't get yourself over in the first week and nobody cares about you the next, just will pack it up and go home. But they knew exactly what they were doing.
There is a person, and we won't name their name, but there is a person that says it takes 8 years for someone to draw money. That is not true in the professional wrestling business. It does not take 8 years for anybody to draw money in the wrestling business. It can be done, if done correctly, in 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, and it does not take someone that long to get over. We've seen it. Me and Rodney have seen it. Jack, I'm pretty sure you've seen it. Guys get over within a couple of weeks. It's what you do with them. But if it takes you 8 years to get somewhere over, you have a problem.
That ain't the wrestler's problem. That's the booker's problem right there.
Exactly. And I won't name no names of who said that, but that does not hold true.
Curiosity, who is this idiot?
There for a while, I believe he ran that one of those big wrestling organizations for a while. He was the main man there for a while during their time.
Was he a big brown nose and stooge?
83 weeks. If anybody wants to do it.
Okay, that's the big brown. I heard him. Yeah, he's
That is not true.
He should have the guy that's running the NWA should not have done the NWA. It was a mistake. We're talking about was it Corgan? He tries to start from scratch and tries to revive something that people loved. And I guess we could see Mr. what's his name there, seeing if he could start from scratch.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. We can show so many different people who got over in a short amount of time, and we can go and throw that several times and show you as a matter of fact, the Midnight Express, Dennis Condrey, Bobby Eaton, drew within 3 weeks after they were in Mid-South Wrestling. So it can be done, and no one ever saw Jim Cornette, Dennis Condrey, or Bobby Eaton ever in Mid-South Wrestling. So that does not hold up at all. But anyway, let's get back to the fabulous Freebirds. After this, there's an interview with Idol and Sullivan after they beat up old Jack Poor and Gerald Finley. People were responding to everything Austin Idol was saying. I mean, everything he said in that interview, they were responding. Not so much to Kevin Sullivan, but every time Austin Idol said something, man, did y'all notice that during this exchange?
Well, it was, again, it's experience. Idol knew exactly what he needed to do and how to put together the interview to get the response from the crowd that was necessary. Some others in that interview did not know that.
What did they call? What did Austin Idol call the Freebirds?
Jailbirds.
Jailbirds, and the fans picked up on it and was yelling that a lot. Austin Idol, very good during this time period. Very, very, very good during this time period. The Freebirds came out, and Terry Gordy always would stop Gordon Soley at the beginning of his interviews. Y'all notice that? He said, just wait a minute right now, Gordon Soley. Let me tell you, you get on my nerves sometimes, Gordon.
That's right.
And started telling what he was going to do. What a great, he said, let me tell you, the Omni, he'd always call it the Omni. And the Omni, Gordon, we're going to, and it was just, that was Sullivan and Idol, where is that? That's a lost art. Am I wrong, Jack? That's a lost art of what Terry Gordy did during this interview.
Yeah. Such a connection with, people talk about connection with fans, and you think of it in a babyface sense, but heels had that connection too back then. And few better than Terry and Michael and Buddy did.
They were so good. On the same program, the second hour, Kevin Sullivan comes out with a contract, and he says that he will let the Freebirds pick his partner. He leaves the contract with Gordon Soley. Gordon, again, Gordon starts the interview, and Gordon says, wait a minute, just a minute, Gordon. So starts laughing at him. He says, they're going to let us pick the partner. Buddy Roberts said that Sullivan must be something wrong with him. He's knocked his brains out through his ears if he's going to let them pick their partner. And Hayes says these words. He says, well, we're going to take this and we're going to dwell over this. Great stuff. Don't y'all think so?
Yeah, especially Gordon says he's going to go back and dwell on it. What does that mean? Never heard that quite put that way before.
Great storytelling. The interview, then they come out, and the Freebirds, they talk about the match, and he says, well, listen, there's going to be a little bit of change. And Michael Hayes is just tremendous in this. He's got that paper in his hand, and he's holding it. He says, he reads through it and says, but there's going to be a change in this. Because we're going to be 1 hour early next week, 5:05, and so we're going to have that match next week. I'm not going to give it to you now. We're going to let the people, they're going to be millions of people watching this match. He makes a big deal out of it. And he says that he tells that Austin Idol is a man, Austin Idol and Kevin Sullivan still hubcaps. And that they said they were going to pick Mike Davis to be his partner. Sullivan comes out and says, well, he says, let me have that for a second. And he gets a hold of it. And Buddy Roberts says something to the effect, well, he can read. Look at it. He can read. And they all make fun of him for a while about him reading, which was spectacular. And he says, well, it says something about a referee. And Michael Hayes says, well, all they're going to do is count your shoulders to the mat. So what does it matter? He said, well, yeah, but that's the. And here comes Austin Idol, special guest referee with a referee shirt and the whistle. Jack, what did you think about that?
Oh, I thought it was great. The reaction, it worked. It worked huge. They had got over on the Freebirds, that whole time of boasting, and then boom, it was great.
It was a good deal. And Austin Idol did a great. He had a great thing. He said he could knock the pink off the Pink Panther. Let me tell you something, brother. Austin he was so good during this thing. Yeah. And right after that, on November 3rd, 1980, Terry Gordy defeated Jack Briscoe in Augusta, Georgia, at the Bell Auditorium. That is a great win for Terry Gordy, especially in the Georgia area, former world heavyweight champion. Then on the 5th of November, 1980, Municipal Auditorium, Columbus, Georgia, Austin Idol defeated Terry Gordy by disqualification. And then on November 8th, 1980, at the Mid-South Auditorium in Griffin, Georgia, great place, by the way, to watch wrestling. Yeah. Terry Gordy, Buddy Roberts, Michael Hayes defeated Jim Brunzell, Ray Candy, and Steve O. Now we go to November 8th, 1980, the TBS studios. The Freebirds come out and tell Gordon that they have a telegram from Austin Idol. Jack, do you remember this? Can you tell that story?
Yeah, basically, it's been a while since I watched that one. He apologizes. He's not going to be there, and that the Freebirds are the better wrestlers. If I don't give you a clue. But
this was very well done, Rodney. And the reason why this was so well done, because Austin Idol had been a bad guy in Georgia. So it could have made sense. Am I correct, Rodney?
Absolutely. And the thing about it, in this telegram, it said that Austin Idol wanted to become one of the Freebirds. That is exactly what it said. And that's Michael Hayes was reading it, that he wanted to become, and he apologized to the Freebirds for anything that he might have said or done. I thought it was great.
This was the thing. Kevin Sullivan came out with Mike Davis and said he wanted to wait for a while. Because he knew Idol would be there. Idol said he would be there, and now Gordon was very good at this. He said, but you got to understand, Kevin, Austin Idol. You went against Austin Idol. You know what kind of man he is. This seems like something that Austin Idol would do. So good. Just the storytelling was just spectacular. And you know what was probably so good about this? They never talked about it. Gordon just picked up and went with it.
Exactly right. Yeah. That's experience again.
Michael Hayes comes out and tells them, no. You wanted the match. Why don't you get in the ring and let's take this match? And so Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeat Kevin Sullivan, Mike Davis for the NWA Georgia Tag Team Championship. Jack Briscoe was doing commentary during this match. This was a great match. This was a tremendous match. Kevin Sullivan did good. Mike Davis even done well in this match. WB needs to watch this and know how to produce a tag team match during that, because this match, it just had everything in it. And boy, they went just bam, bam, bam. Maybe a 10-minute match, and it was so good.
And the crowd was into it. The crowd was into this match. And again, it shows Terry and Buddy put on a show, put on a great match. So now if you saw this on television, imagine what you're going to see when you go live to see it.
Yes.
Always great matches. That's the main thing. When you get the Freebirds in the ring, it's always going to be a great match.
Well, After the match, Michael Hayes tells Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts, hey, y'all just go shine those belts up. You've wrestled hard. I'll finish this interview, and I'll take care of that. Well, Sullivan grabs a hold of him and throws him in the ring and starts beating Michael Hayes. Terry Gordy, Buddy Roberts comes back out. Beat on him a little bit, and then a couple of guys come to help him. And I think it might have been Jim Brunzell, Steve-O, and Terry Taylor that came out to help him. And I didn't even remember Jim Brunzell being in Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Short amount of time.
I just don't remember him being there. I don't know. I do remember the Freebirds very well, but I don't remember Jim Brunzell. Later on the show, the interview again with the Freebirds, Freddie Miller comes out and he says, listen, I see Idol's here. And he comes out with his hat on and blowing the whistle, telling people he's ready to be the referee. He's ready to do it. Jack, I think you know this story very well. I'll let you tell the story.
Well, and he just he's talking about the flat tire, why he couldn't be there, and then it's I believe it's Michael Hayes that says, well, sorry about your 4 flat tires. To which Idol responds, I never said it was 4. And then it's on. I mean, it's and they start beating the crap out of Idol. So really great. It was
really so great. Well done the way it was done because he says, well, you came out with an excuse, had 4 flat tires. He said, what? He said, well, wait just a sec. What did you say? I said I was going to beat you. No. What did you say before then? And he said a flat tire. No. You said 4 flat tires. How did you know that? I mean, it was so well done. And no, not written. It was, they talked about it, but it was so well done. And it was, and then they go right from the beating right to the interview. And the Omni, it's going to Austin Idol doing his thing and Kevin Sullivan doing his. And by the way, that Omni show drew a great crowd, by the way, to see that match. Then on November the 14th, 1980, in the Omni in Atlanta, Jack Briscoe defeated Terry Gordy for the NWA National Heavyweight Championship, because I believe Jack Briscoe's the one that brought the National Heavyweight title to the area. And then on November 15th, Robert Fuller comes to town, as he is going to be the new booker for Georgia Championship Wrestling. They talk, they do an interview with the Freebirds. They tell their story about what happened in the Omni, and it was all one-sided. It was all about what they did, how they perceived things to happen. And Kevin Sullivan, Austin Idol came out and showed the match from the Omni, where Jack Briscoe faced Terry Gordy. Jack Briscoe had Terry Gordy in a figure-4 leg lock. This must have been about a 3 or 4 minute match. Here comes the Freebirds, jump them. Sullivan and Idol come in, and they start the match right there in the Omni. And this match, we only seen the highlights of this match, but this match was a very good match. The referee ends up getting Nick Patrick, which is the referee. He ends up getting knocked down in this match. Michael Hayes comes off the top and hits Kevin Sullivan while they have one of them in the spinning toe hold. Kevin Sullivan has Buddy Roberts, I think, in the spinning toe hold. Terry Gordy is in the figure-4 leg lock, or as Austin Idol called it, I think he called it the Las Vegas leg lock.
Las Vegas leg lock, yeah.
He has them on that. They pin the Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy, Buddy Roberts become the new national tag team champions. By this time, I believe it is the national tag team champions. So they defeat them for the titles. And all at once, here comes Ronnie West running out to the ring, grabs a hold of the belts. The people go nuts when he grabs a hold of the belts. He grabs a hold of the belts. Kevin Sullivan says these words. Look at Ronnie West over here. He looks like a track star, right? That's what he says here. And they hold the titles up for a tag team tournament that was going to be held in the Omni on Thanksgiving night. What did y'all think? Did y'all watch the match? Did y'all see that that match?
I did not get to see that match.
That match was a spectacular match, and it was a great thing to see on television. Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeated Jerry Roberts and Ken Woodby from right here in Tennessee. Then on November 17th, the Bell Auditorium in Augusta, Georgia, Kevin Sullivan and Austin Idol defeated Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts. And then they announced the tournament signed for the Omni Thanksgiving night. Freebirds all mad about what was going on, but Buddy Roberts and Terry Gordy defeated Steve-O and Ken Timms in the match. And then the Omni, Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeated Jack and Jerry Briscoe. And then Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeated Steve Kern and Terry Taylor. And then in the end, Terry Gordy and Buddy Roberts defeated Robert Fuller and Stan Frazier. Now remember, Robert Fuller is now the booker of Georgia Championship Wrestling. And when we talk about the Freebirds next, Robert Fuller and Stan Frazier are in a feud with the Freebirds now. Not as good as Kevin Sullivan and Austin Idol. Nowhere near.
A bit different.
A little bit different. And then Ted DiBiase will also be in a feud with the Freebirds. And on our next episode on the Freebirds, we will talk about that. Very, very good stuff as far as the Freebirds. I think that was probably some of the best Freebird stuff they did in Atlanta when they first got there. All booked by Ole Anderson. So you can give Ole Anderson all the credit for those things you've seen with Kevin Sullivan and Austin Idol. Anything that we need to talk about during this time before we look and talk to the insiders and see what they got to say?
Well, I think that there was the National Tag Team Champions and the Georgia Tag Team Champions. I don't think they had merged them yet because the National Tag Team Championship was actually a trophy at first that they had won at the tournament on Thanksgiving night. I'm almost sure of that because they would carry around the trophy.
I do remember the trophy.
You know, and I believe the belts at that time were being they were sent off to be put the national thing on them. I believe that's where the belts might have been at the time. All right, are we ready to go see the what the insiders have got to say?
Let's go see what our folks are up to.
Well, let's see what you've got to say about the Freebirds or anything else that you might have in that. Chaplain Freddie Rooster Roper. Hello, gentlemen. By the way, you asked a question on Facebook post of what happened to Scrappy McGallion. I'll let Jack handle that while I'm looking through the.
Scrappy is doing well. He's lives over in Georgia, where he's a Georgia native. He still occasionally pops up at shows and lends a hand, and he can still go. He's kind of got the Jack Lord look going on top now, but boy, he can still do everything that he could always do. Scrappy's a great guy.
Richard Hood, good evening, gentlemen. Bristol Romaine, how do you say that? Is that Romaine?
He's an Auburn fan. We're not concerned about how to pronounce it.
He said hello to you though, so we'll let him do. Christopher Hughes, hello guys. I hope you are well. Time to talk about the greatest tag team of all time and my favorite wrestler, Terry Bam Bam Gordy. Yep. Who trained Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy? I believe Terry Gordy was trained by his uncle. Am I correct about that?
Yeah.
And I don't know if Michael Hayes, I don't know if he's really trained. I'm not sure. I'm just joking. No, Michael, I think, was Robert Gibson, Ricky Gibson, a bunch of those guys who helped train him. Reverend Carlos Stapleton, greeting y'all. Hey, Jack, good to see you.
Hey, Carlos.
Kenneth Smith, hey, guys. Kevin Penley said, can Jack tell me Gordy started Delman's promotion and tell me who was Captain Hook? I've heard of him, and that's all.
Captain Hook was his uncle. He may have been a cousin. I can't really remember now. But Captain Hook worked. He was a manager around the, Chattanooga, Saudi Daisy area for years and years, and he's the one that got Terry into the business, and obviously done a really good job of what he did with him.
Yes, and I believe he did work for the Del Man organization as well. Bristol Ref, how did Jimmy Jam become a Freebird?
Well, they were always friends, especially from the Dallas time period. And they always hung out together. So Jimmy was kind of an informal Freebird for years before they made it official anyway.
Michael Barr, hello from Southeast Alabama. Alex Cole said, hey, Uncle Jack.
Hey, Alec.
Robin, hello from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey, on.
Kevin Finley, did Rodney kill Kevin Sullivan or maybe Kevin Sullivan? Rodney?
I think he fired Kevin Sullivan.
I preferred the baby before the other because we'll see a match. I just saw a match today with Kevin Sullivan where he Terry Taylor kicked him off and he jumped out of went through the ropes. It was a terrible bump. That was even on television. He just deteriorated once we turned.
When he turned, I don't think he was as good as he was.
No,
because during the time he was wrestling against the Freebirds, he did a very good job.
Yeah,
he did a good job during that. Did the Freebirds ever go? Yes, yes, yeah, many times I believe. Christopher Hughes said, "I didn't know about the birds till they blinded the dog. I've watched this on YouTube now, but as a kid, we didn't have cable until early '94. I missed this. Yeah, back then that Mid-South would not have been on cable television until years later." Kevin said one of them did the Continental. Yes, Michael Hayes did. Michael Hayes was the good guy. We always thought that was backwards. We always thought that should have been flipped around. That Michael Hayes should have been the bad guy. Terry Gordy should have been the good guy. But it didn't work out that way because Michael Hayes wasn't going to come back, I don't think. I think he just ended up coming back. And we'll talk about that when we get to all the mess that went on in Georgia Championship Wrestling during that time. Michael Barr, being there was a four-horse, and it would have been neat to see a four of the Freebirds as well. Terry Gordy was my favorite Freebird, Richard Hood. Christopher said Buddy could work. He could be, and we'll just, you can add whatever you want to add to the end of that. Richard Hood said, bam, bam. The Freebirds were strictly Southern wrestlers, never a good fit in the WWF. I think they could have been, but they had their own way of doing it.
And they made some key people mad right off the bat, and that didn't help. So.
No.
And my opinion is they brought the Freebirds into the WWF trying to do that rock and wrestling thing. That wasn't going to work.
Michael
and Terry and Buddy had to be by themselves doing their thing, just like we just talked about right here. They have to do just what they did here.
Yeah,
they can't come in as some rock and roll extension of Hulk Hogan or something. It's not part of Dave Wolf and Cyndi Lauper. It's just not going to work.
Right.
Christopher Hughes said Buddy could work. He could be a great bumping heel. He could mat wrestle or speed it up. He could beg off. He could be dirty and cheat. And then the next night be a babyface. That's true. He was that good. Michael Barr, who was the double when Miss Wrestling 2 wrestled the Imposter Miss Wrestling 2? Joe Powell was the guy's name. They did it a few times, so it's according to one time you thought you think about it. But the big time they did it was Joe Powell, and he beat him up in the Omni pretty bad. So you just didn't become Imposter Wrestling 2. You would get beat up. You didn't think Jody was going to that mess, did you? Oh, my opinion, the best wrestler ever. Now we've had the argument about this before, so be careful. Dennis Mitchell said, whatever happened to Gerald Finley? I don't know. Does anybody know?
Hadn't heard from him in years.
Kevin Finley said, was Zane Hickey related to Spaceman? I don't even know what that
means. Spaceman Hickey. That's a whole show right there.
Oh. Where did Nick go after the Freebirds? Is he talking about Nick Goose? I'm not for sure. Yeah, Michael, tell us what Nick you're talking about. I'm lost there. Do y'all know what he's speaking about? Richard Hood Gerald runs 2 car washes in Atlanta and a good friend of his. Well,
Awesome.
Thank you, Richard.
Tell
Gerald
him to say
Finley.
hello.
Yes, we thought Gerald Finley he should have got a bigger push than he ever did. I think he could have. I think he could have drew some money. Freebirds triple pile drive on DB awesome. Yes, spectacular thing they did back then.
Hey, that one with Stan Fraser's not too bad either. One of my favorites.
Yeah, he really gets it bad, boy. Gerald is doing good.
On that head, that was great.
Michael Barr said, Idol and Sullivan, a tag team. Curious how well they got along. There's no telling. Christopher Hughes said, darn, the Freebirds versus Idol Sullivan, Mike Graham, and Jack Briscoe. I bet was awesome. Yes. Yes, Idol Mania running wild. You would think that he would have made Hulk Hogan pay him some money since he stole Idol Mania, Hulkamania away from him. He was doing.
And they actually tagged in Georgia for a little while too.
See, they did. Here is Michael Alton. Cheers to all. Dennis Mitchell said Idol Mania is better than Hulkamania. Richard Hood saying Dennis Gerald is doing good. Bubba Griffin, Pensacola in the house.
Hey, Bubba.
Kevin Finley said, but did George Goulas get over in 2 weeks? Unfortunately, he was over to a certain extent.
Yep, he was.
He was over. I know people talk bad about George, but the wrestling fans, I don't think they seen him as the wrestlers saw him. I don't think they saw him the same.
No.
I think today we hear what wrestlers say about him, but I don't think the fans looked at him that way.
No, my grandmother liked him.
So it's just what the wrestlers say about him today. But he knew how to sell. He knew how to get himself over and sell it. Maybe his comebacks was a little weak, but he did know how to sell, and that's the key of professional wrestling. If you can sell. Daniel Lang, who was Kevin Sullivan's brother that got his leg broke by Austin Idol? Jack, do you remember that?
I used to know that, and I can't remember, but man, what a terrific angle that was.
Michael Barr, I was contracted to wrestle for a title way back, but the booker lost the contract. That could happen. I've seen that. Christopher Hughes said, in 14 years, I never seen a signed contract. Guess they took my word for it. I knew I was a man of my word. I don't think anybody had contracts. I guess they do now. How many angles were there back then? Well, they did a lot of angles back in the great days of wrestling. That's the way they drew the money. Gordon was a great commentator, and the wrestlers were good behind the mic. Richard Hood, Mike McCord. Yes, that is Austin Idol. Let's see. Daniel Lang said Idol had been Harley Race's bounty hunter against Tommy Rich. I think he broke Tommy Rich's leg, if I remember.
Yeah, that was the angle when Tommy had to have knee surgery.
Michael Barr said Ronnie West, one of the best referees ever. Thank you so much. George Lambert, how you doing, sir? For those of you, Ben Masters. For those of you who don't know the name, compare Michael Hayes when he started to Jim Garvin when he managed Terry and Ronnie. Yeah, that's true. I think that's a good comparison.
Yep.
He also wanted to thank you for the information on Scrappy. Jimmy Garvin had a role in the original Bash Street USA video.
Yeah, I mean, I could say they were legit friends. They hung out together outside the shows, traveled together. That was a legit friendship outside of the ring.
Greg Hickey said, were the Freebirds the first to use ring music? No, they were not the first to use it. I know that Michael Hayes says that they were the first. Now, the first person I think to ever use music might have been a man before Gorgeous George. I believe there's a man way before.
Dan said at one time a guy by the name of the Matador, not Jerry Stubbs Matador, but the Matador came out with music.
So they wasn't the first. Now, were they the first to use it on a regular basis? Maybe, but I think that Gorgeous George might have been the person that did it the most. And
there was a guy in the 50s, Ricky Starr, I believe, that he was like a ballet dancer. And he would, they would play music. I think it would not be until either at the start of the match or when the match was over with. But there would be a period there where you had music. It's pretty good.
Now, did the Freebirds bring it to the next level? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think they did bring it to the next level. I will agree with him there. Mike Mason, how you doing, sir? We're glad you are doing well.
Mike is better because I tried to call him earlier and he didn't answer my call.
Jack said, Jack Bisto, I believe his name, the Freebirds had a good feud with Devastation Incorporated in World Class Championship Wrestling. Yes. David Taylor, Terry was one of the best guys I've ever worked. I've never forgotten it. It's such an honor and never would have happened if not for you. Thank you so much for letting me work, Terry. Well, thank you so much. You were very, very good. Loved everything you did. You were good at that. Marcella Rome, I would like to see film clips of 1978-90 Mid-South Wrestling where Roberts for the Freebirds. Cannot find it.
Cannot find them. I haven't seen it.
Is that on the WWE Network?
I haven't looked. But I will.
Victor Nash said, which feud do you think were better, Freebirds versus Von Erichs or Freebirds versus Road Warriors? I say Freebirds versus Von Erichs.
Yeah, I second that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was and Michael Barr said, well, I didn't hit it. Michael Barr said, thanks, Brett, Jack, and Rodney, a great show. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the show. And like he said, like the Freebirds' interest music, yes, it fit them. It was so good for him. And Michael Hayes had that stretch of the ring. That was incredible. Daniel Lang said Roddy Piper played the Mexican national anthem.
Yeah, I saw that. The Cucaracha is what it was. Yeah.
Yes, that was true.
That was awesome. Piper talked about that. He said it about had a riot with him and Chavo Guerrero.
Guys, is there anything we need to talk? Because we're a little over time tonight, but is there anything we need to say about the Freebirds, their start? They go national in Georgia Championship Wrestling. Anything we need to say before we leave?
Now, we got a lot more coming up, so y'all tune in.
Yeah, it'll be very good. You'll enjoy it as Robert Fuller is the booker of Georgia Championship Wrestling. So we'll be telling you a lot about the goings on with the Freebirds. Rodney, any final words?
I think we've got it for tonight. Looking forward to the next one.
All right, folks, if you have not went to YouTube and you have not subscribed to the channel, get over there and do that. It's absolutely free. It costs you absolutely nothing. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, and it'll let you know when we're uploading videos on there. And we do upload pretty regular. So if you've not done it, please get over there and do so. And if you are watching it, like and share our Facebook page, and we certainly appreciate each and every one of you for being a part of our show. We do appreciate it. We enjoy what we do. We love talking about the old days of professional wrestling. Old school professional wrestling is what we love.
Victor was asking, will we on again tomorrow night? I believe we are, with more World Championship Wrestling from 1985.
A lot to talk about tomorrow night. World Championship Wrestling, so be a part of that tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Jack, thank you so much. Rodney, thank you. And thank you for being a part of this episode of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. And we'll see you tomorrow night at 7:30.